Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Welcome to the Kingston Council on Aging Advisory Board meeting. Today is Tuesday, December 10th, and we'll go ahead and get started with the Pledge of Allegiance.
You said, don't get up again.
I can do it.
No.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Horrible. Yeah. It's not the right season.
I know.
I wish they brought.
Yeah.
I know it's been a couple of months that we've, since we've been here. Actually, I'll go ahead and start with a few announcements first. Sorry. This meeting is being recorded by the local scene. Anyone intending to make an audio or video recording of this meeting should notify the chair at this time. There are several volunteer opportunities at the Council on Aging, including but not limited to Meals on Wheels, volunteer help at the cafe, volunteers needed with computer skills, senior tax write-off volunteers, and so on. So if you have any interest in any of these opportunities, please reach out to Holly as the interim director of the COA. And as a reminder, I always do, that the email address to reach us is coa-ab@kingstonna.gov. All right, we'll move on to, we have several meeting minutes to review. We can do that afterwards, it's fine. I'll do it with time after. I think that I had sent these to you. I know I didn't send them to you just the other day, but I thought that I had previously sent them to you. So correct me if I'm wrong, and if you guys aren't ready to approve them, let me know. But we have our September 10th meeting, which we originally had copies of for our October meeting, and we were going to bump it. We decided to bump it. We have the September 27th special meeting minutes, which were brief. And then we have the October 8th meeting minutes, which we would have reviewed in November, but we canceled the November meeting. Does anyone have any questions? Do you need more time to review these? Okay, we could do these as a lump sum if everyone is willing. I just need a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to accept September 10th and September 27th and October, oops, wait a minute. 8th.
Perfect.
And I second it.
Thank you, Mary.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Very good, thank you. I will circle back and ask if anyone is here for open forum. Anyone? Okay, now we'll go ahead and move on. Thank you for that. Couple of things. We did this last year too. I was invited last month. I don't remember the date. Holly might remember the date, but invited to the senior safety presentation given by the Plymouth County District Attorney's Office. There are extra folders here if any of you are interested, but similar to years in the past, it was incredibly informative. There's all kinds of really great, not only information, but resources given out at that meeting. And one of the things that I personally love is this life of file, or the other way around, file of life. That's what it is. Which, if none of you, do you all have it? Does everyone use one of these?
I need a new one.
You need a new one. Well, actually, let me use it for explanation first, and then I'll hand it to you.
Yeah.
Sorry. Shouldn't have been so quick to toss it to you.
Right on your fridge.
Exactly. So for anyone that's watching us, it's a wonderful medical card that you can post right on your refrigerator. The back of this is magnetized, so you can stick this right in there. And then if there's anything else important that medical professionals need to know about you, they can also be tucked right in here. When they come in, they'll come right to your home, right to your refrigerator. They'll look for this first. So I use this for my mother. And I'm actually considering using it for myself because why the heck not?
Idea.
Why the heck not? I mean, this doesn't have to be just a senior thing.
Especially if you're on medications or anything.
Well,
yeah.
and, right,
Or
you
you
know,
have
if you've
a-
got anything.
Allergic to something, yeah.
Also in here is some handy phone numbers for you guys to have. As far as resources, you know, of course, emergency 911, but how to reach the district attorney's office, how to reach the elder abuse hotline, how to reach Old Colony Elder Services, so on and so forth. There's all kinds of great phone numbers on here too, which are inside this packet and really good to keep handy. And then there's a portable version. So the exact same information in a little portable file to tuck into your wallet or your purse or wherever your portable medications, wherever you keep your safety information. So that's always my biggest takeaway when I go to this is getting these. And this is a sticker that you can put on your window as they're entering your house to actually tell them, hey, this exists, go find this. So that's what all this is about. There you go, my friend.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And then other information that's in here, just different brochures about triad, how to get rid of your excess drug, prescription drug information. I've actually used this myself, and it could not have been more simple. I mean, I didn't do anything special to it. You don't have to depersonalize the bottles if you can, if you want to, but you don't have to. The whole thing is completely secure and they get incinerated. So it's not like somebody's opening them up and going, oh, what is Katie Starr donating? So dropping off your drugs at the police station is actually a really good, easy thing to do. Do not call registry list reminders are in here. How to protect yourself from identity theft. All kinds of different things. So if you will have these extra files are here. So if anyone wants them at the table, please take them. But we'll make sure that they're at the front desk as well. For anyone that wants them there. Okay,
Can I add something?
please.
At one of these meetings that I went to in the past, they did mention about the meditation.
Mm,
And people don't realize it and they'll throw it in the toilet. If
Yeah,
you have a
bad. Thank you
septic-
for saying that.
if you have a septic system,
Yeah.
it can wreck your septic
Absolutely.
system. It'll kill all the bacteria in there, and so it's very important. And I know that they mentioned that.
That's
Yeah.
actually, I'm really glad that you mentioned that.
Yeah.
Because that is very important.
Because that's the easiest.
For the
thing.
exact reason, we all have septic systems in this area. Almost every
Yeah.
single one of us does.
Yeah.
Right.
And everybody watching, it most likely has a septic system too. So please don't flush your medication for that exact reason. It's
Yeah.
going to kill off the good biomes and the good things, organisms in your system. So that's why they have that program. So perfect. Thank you. Kathy, you wanted to share a personal experience about rideshare.
I do, I
Please do.
really do. As you all know, I have a room registered in my name in South Shore Hospital.
Oh, no.
Been there forever.
She has her own suite.
In and
I
out.
have my own suite, yeah. I have many points now. Because I've been unable to drive and had to go to a congestive heart failure clinic, I have been able to use a program that I'm with an integrated care management specialist. The hospital set that up to keep me out of the hospital for what's going on. And anyway, they introduced me to the Uber Lyft grant program. And it's through Old Colony Elder Services. And what it is, you are entitled to 2 round-trip rides a month to your hospital or your doctors in Weymouth, Boston, whatever. They will go that distance and they're free. But what you have to do is, first of all, sign up with the Uber program at OCES. It will take you for x-rays, it will take you for MRIs, whatever. You must call 4 days in advance. You need to have your appointment scheduled after 9 a.m. and finish before 4 p.m. You need to be able to use a cell phone to receive messages, because what the program does is let you know who's going to pick you up at what time. I just experienced it again yesterday. Got an email message that said, Arthur will pick you up in 10 minutes. He is driving a Camry, gives you the color of the car and the license plate number. This is at my home. You have to be able to walk to the car yourself, get in the car by yourself. They don't assist. He was there right on time. Off we went to Weymouth. I went to my appointments. When I was done, I had already scheduled a time for pickup because they would like you to schedule a time so they can have a driver ready. When my appointment was done, I was sitting downstairs waiting. And I got a message, your driver will be there in 7 minutes. His name is, he will be driving this colored car. You don't have the same driver that brings you. They do not wait for you. If you get out there and you can't get to them within 5 minutes, they will leave. But there will be a number for you to call and let them know that you get tied up at the office or whatever, and they'll send somebody else out. And that happened to me the first time that I went. I got down there because my driver was supposed to be there in 10 minutes. But then at the last minute, I got a notification that he was unable to make it, but they would send me a driver in 4 minutes. 4 minutes later, there was somebody there. So I have to say that they're very precise, very on time. It's easy. You don't need to go into the app. They text you. So it's not a problem. I have, I'll show anybody afterwards. I have a sample of what I went through yesterday. And again, they'll go to the hospitals in Boston, Weymouth, wherever. So I think it's a great program. It's free as long as the grant is in place.
Great.
I used it. It works exactly the way she says. it
Awesome.
does. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's perfect. And a lot of people don't know about it. It's just one of those things. And I heard about it through the integrated case management program. I'm actually in a program at South Shore. It's called Hospital at Home. I probably, if I have major issue, they will come to me for IVs and what have you. So I don't have to go to South Shore. And if
Do you have to do you chip the driver?
Oh, yeah.
it is not necessary, and I had asked the driver himself, he said, no, your insurance is covering these rides. You don't have to tip us. And they don't pressure you. I had a young man yesterday bringing me home, and he drives for this particular program because he's going for his master's in cybersecurity, so it helps him. And I tipped him, and he was really grateful. He offered it back to me. I said, no, the cars are new, they're clean. The drivers are neat and clean. They drive very cautiously on the highway. When you're all done, you get a request to fill out a form,
Yeah.
to rate them.
Yeah.
And it's only 4 questions. They want to know, was the driver clean? Was the
Very
driver on time? Was the driver a decent driver? That was it.
Mhm.
It's a wonderful program.
It sounds very similar to, obviously, they must be partnering, I'm guessing, with Uber themselves and with Lyft.
Yeah, these
Those
guys,
must be partnerships. So when they're not driving for this program, they're probably driving in general, for the greater population.
yep, like the
um,
fellow that took me yesterday was a retired police officer from Plymouth. He was dropping me off, but he was going on to take some woman to a shopping trip. She was going to do her Christmas shopping through Lyft.
And so at first I thought you said, and correct me if I'm wrong, at first I thought you said you were entitled to 2 free round trip
A month.
trips. Oh, a month. Okay, that's,
2 free trips a month.
and then if you exceed that, how does that work? Have you exceeded that, and have you had to pay privately?
I have not exceeded that, and I don't know if it,
Okay.
I don't know that answer.
So anybody could reach out to Old Colony Elder
And
Services to
that's
ask those
where
questions.
you would go. First of all, they will do your intake for you, and they're the ones that sponsor the program.
Great.
But I heard, again, because nobody really knows about it, I'm glad you had experience with it. I heard through the integrated case management. So I'm being watched like a lot.
Believe me, we all are.
I can't do it.
It's a wonderful,
Well, that's great.
we work.
Yeah. No, I'm
Then
glad that
when
it's there.
somebody runs out and,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how.
And this is above and beyond, I would imagine, above and beyond typical CATRA services.
Yeah,
Those are still out there, but these are,
Pediatra will only take you.
Local.
Local.
Right.
You know, they're not gonna take you to Boston, they can't.
Sure.
But this is something to get out of the area.
That's
I mean, how
wonderful.
many times do you have to go to Boston or for an MRI or Foxborough
Right.
for, you know? So I think it's a great program.
I thought Cantor was gonna go to Boston.
Whoops.
I don't think they ever
Yeah.
I think they're working
Yeah,
on it.
They're working on
Yeah.
that, yeah.
They're working on it, but they don't right now.
I guess the
I don't
program,
like Cantor. I don't like, my son. I don't like anything else. I don't like getting in cars with strange guys.
I don't either, but you know what? When it comes down, push to shove, and you have nobody to take you and you have to go, at least it's available.
You've got a nice service
Well,
and it's a secure, so
Very
it's
secure.
secure in that they're
Yeah.
trying to protect your safety by telling you who's coming and not,
Yeah.
you know, if a red car shows up and not the black one you're expecting, don't get in the red one.
Gives you the guy's name.
Exactly.
And you know his name.
And that's how Uber works. That's how in general Uber works.
Yeah, he
anyway.
knows
I
who
like
I
it
am.
when they say your name when you.
Yeah,
go
hi
to the-
Kathleen, welcome.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
first thing that
Makes
comes
it
out of their
simple.
mouth.
Is they know, that-
Not,
yeah,
you must be Kathleen. It's like, good
No,
morning, Kathleen.
Yeah.
Welcome.
no, that's great.
Yeah,
That's- thank
and
you
they
for
tell you
sharing
the
that.
color of the car, the license plate, his name,
Yep.
and his phone number.
Yeah.
So if you run into a problem,
You can reach
you
out
can
directly.
directly call.
That's wonderful. Thank you for sharing the experience.
Oh, it was good.
Great. And if anyone has any other questions, please reach out to Old Colony Elder Services about
Yeah.
that. Oh, that's Joanne. Oh, okay, great. Hi, how are you? Joanne, hi. Are you ready? Would you like to,
I'm in no rush, so at your convenience, whenever you guys want to take it up.
well, you know what? Maybe I will give you just a couple of extra minutes
course.
just to get situated. If I can, we've got our Friends representative today. This was gonna be down. I have this under, other business, but I'm gonna pull it up forward and ask, that Chris give us a quick little update about what's happening with the Friends group.
well, thank you very much. I
Come on
haven't
over,
seen you
slide
guys
on
for a
over.
while.
one.
Slide it on
slide
over.
baby.
Slide.
Slide over.
Well, since I haven't seen most of you for quite some time, let me just highlight the last 6 months. It's been a long 6 months and we've
Okay.
been extremely busy. We started off in June with our annual luncheons where we selected our most of our
Officers.
Hmm? Offices, thank you very much. It's the dementia is setting in early, what can I say? And it was a success. We've had about 110 people that day. And they had so much fun at the Hilltop that they had a request, please, let's do this again. So we said, okay, and make sure we have the ice cream truck. Okay. So we had probably, over the course of the summer, we had another 3 or 4 times that we met. And we serviced probably almost 200 people. And the meals were great. We got them from Mamma Mia's, we got them from KFC, we got them from Market Basket, and we've all learned how to be great service. But anyway, so that was good, and they all enjoyed it. When it came time to plan the Thanksgiving and Christmas, the Hilltop is nice, but it's not friendly for an activity like that. So we went over to the Knights of Columbus. They're excellent over, excuse me, they're excellent over there. The hall is beautiful. It's just been renovated. It's lovely tables, nice kitchen. It's just a perfect place. So we planned our Thanksgiving and we had 120 people for Thanksgiving. And we had the firefighters there to serve. And all the meals got out and they were all hot. I couldn't sleep the night before worrying about serving cold food. But those firefighters, I'm telling you, everything was out.
And handsome too.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So I was so
That's a nice
busy, I
added
didn't
bonus.
know.
Nice
And-
added bonus.
And for Christmas, we have the same thing. We have the KFC scheduled. We have 120 people. We have the police officers coming to serve. And we have Mr. and Mrs. Claus coming. And we have Bill Alberti coming to sing, so it should be a festive time. And as far as the business goes, Holly and I have met a few times. And the friends paid for Matt York. He was excellent, by the way. He was really good. And that was pretty much full. And also we talked about, we're still subsidizing the materials for the any of the craft stuff. So we continue to do that. And like she tells me she's decorating cookies this time. So I said, I thought you did plants. I guess she's gonna do cookies, so that's fun. She's also doing table placement for us for a center. She's doing poinsettias. We couldn't get the real poinsettias this year, so she's doing the paper ones for us for Christmas. So it'll be nice. And then also we're helping out with the mailing, bulk mailing. We gave Holly a check for her permit, and we put $1,000 into her account for bulk mailing. And that's enough. That's where we've been. We've been real busy.
Good. That's a great update. Thank you very much. Does anyone have any questions for Chris? All right then. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Thank you, Chris.
All right. So the next thing on our agenda, not to keep Joanne waiting any longer, is as we know, we've gotten the approval to move ahead with the programming for the Old Colony Planning Council. Thank you, for their version of the Age and Dementia study. And Joanne is here to hopefully share with us what the heck do we do next? What's the next steps, and what can we expect? Joanne, thank you for joining us.
Thank you all for having me, and I'm going to apologize in advance. My dog is being really obnoxious. I hope it doesn't interfere with what I'm saying. So if you can't hear me, just raise your hand and I'll try and deal with him. So the next step for the age-friendly process in Kingston is to get a contract in place for OCPC to be able to provide the services. That's just a quick technicality admin thing. But I do need to know from you guys what you want to do with regard to the committee and the public survey. So the choice that you need to make is, do you want the town to set up an age and dementia friendly task force or committee as its own board, commission, whatever you decide to call it, at the town level? That would mean that a resolve would be passed by the select board. I can provide you examples from other communities we've worked with that would establish this group, who's in it, how long they serve for, that kind of thing, its purpose. And then the committee would have to be populated with whatever the resolve says. So in the case of Easton, they had a select board member, the COA director, and then I think they had like 5 at-large community members on it. So you guys can do that in multiple different ways. So I'll send you the Easton and Duxbury ones and you'll see what those look like. The advantage of having a separate town committee like that is that it's there pretty much forever, which helps with the longevity of the action planning for the age-friendly and dementia-friendly process. And it also separates it from the Council on Aging and gives it a little bit more weight to work with other departments, essentially, like the planning department, DPW, all those kinds of folks. The disadvantage is that the process is a little bit longer, right? So you have to go through the select board, you then have to appoint the people, et cetera. The alternative is to either have you all here be that group, essentially, and take up the planning process as the COA board. The disadvantage with that is that you guys have a ton of other stuff that you guys have to do and talk about at your meetings. So adding this process on top of that is kind of a huge commitment, and it's, for most communities, too much. You could also decide to establish like a subcommittee or a working group under your guidance. So you could have, 8 people, however many you think is suitable, come together for a working group. You guys invite these people to participate. And then they report directly to you on the planning process. So I would meet with that subgroup at least once a month, in some cases twice a month, depending on what point we are in the process. And then at your monthly meetings, you could ask them to just give you a brief, like 5-minute update about what's been going on. So the advantage with that process is that, it takes the work off of the board itself and puts it into a working group under you. And it's a lot quicker to set up. And you kind of avoid the whole select board process. But the disadvantage is that it's not written into law, if you will, in town. It's just something that you guys are doing as part of your work. So if your board changes in the future, they might decide to dissolve that group and it might no longer exist. So that's really the first decision that you need to make. There's no right answer. Communities have done it every which way and other ways as well too. So it's really a community decision for you guys. And then once you decide which format you'd like to set up, that will then help me plan out a timeline for the project. And we'll talk about the first step, which will be the public survey. So I don't know if that's a conversation you want to have today and try and kind of talk it out, and I can kind of provide some ins and outs on all the options.
I would like to actually have a little bit of conversation about that. So thank you for that. And in fairness, as much as I support this and have always supported this, I was in the back of my mind a little bit concerned about the weight of the project, the emotional or the just the weight of the project falling on us, and was worried about that. So I would like to hear from you guys on pros and cons, and given the choices that Joanne just gave us, where do you guys fall with your thoughts on how you'd like to see this move forward? So as I heard, we have kind of 3 main levels or 3 main choices. It can be taken to the town level, so when we were presenting this, previously, and when we were asking for support with the funding to the Board of Selectmen, we were presenting it to them as a town initiative. We really wanted it to be a town initiative because not everything is simply going to be just the COA benefiting from it. It's going to be a much bigger project. I see that first option as having the task force or committee or whatever you want to call it at that town level, reinforcing that desire to have the town really help step in. And I love the fact that, we could get planning board people, we can get the different, I'm sure that Joanne would help us determine how big the committee should be and all of those things and what are the right people. And through the resources that she'll give us with the other towns that have done it this way, we'll get some guidance. But I do think that option at least does help reinforce what we've been trying to say to the Board of Selectmen all along is this is really a town initiative. Our board level is option 2. I personally feel is the most cumbersome for us. I'll just leave it there. I think our own personal timing and just taking on that burden, that extra burden alone, I think is going to be particularly cumbersome for us. And then a subcommittee that reports to us, I guess I kind of feel like almost the same. I feel like it's just a different variation of that same cumbersome feeling to me. But please, I'd like to hear from everybody else as far as how you guys feel about it.
I agree with you on the board, the town instead of a board, too much on the board, in a subcommittee, maybe there'd be a problem with communication,
Sure.
so. I'm like,
Okay.
you on that.
Okay. Great.
Good.
Similar feelings.
Yeah.
So is there anybody in the room that doesn't, or, would prefer to have more control of this, individual control, with our board? Okay. I think that
If they
it's,
need help, we're here.
absolutely. Well, and I think that there would be people, it may not even be me, I'm involved in other things, but we could decide moving forward. I think today what we could do is take a vote that this is how we would like this to proceed. And then, Joanne can help us, figure out how we're going to, approach the town and who gets on the subcommittee, how does that all happen? But if the choice is that we want this to be at the town level with their support, I think it's appropriate for us to take a vote on that today.
Mhm.
Okay, whatever, I'll make a motion for that. So the motion will be to support a task force or committee at the town level to get the age and dementia survey started. Okay, would anyone like to second that?
I second.
Oh, boy. Not- Who are we giving that to? Maureen, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, great, thank you. All right, so that was our decision, as you heard. So we definitely want the
Great.
town support. We're definitely open to any advice, direction, guidance you can give us to get the town, other members of the town involved, and who would be the appropriate people to be reaching out to ask them to participate.
Mhm. Great. So what I'll do is I will send Holly to share with you all the resolves that were passed in Easton and Duxbury, and a link to their web pages where you can see who their members are. In that email, I'll also make some recommendations for who to think about when you're trying to populate this committee. So off the bat, I would recommend that your COA director is on the committee, as well as your planning director. And you definitely want the committee itself, and I'll provide a list for this, to be representative of the community. So ideally you have, not just everybody 60 plus on the committee, but you have, somebody who might be in their 40s as well, because we're all aging every day, right? So it's important to have those different perspectives. Similarly, I haven't looked through your town website, but if you have like a disability commission, then we'd probably want a representative from that on this group. So I'll take a look at your boards and commissions and talk to a couple of my colleagues who have worked with Kingston as well on different projects. And I'll send you guys an email with those examples of the resolves, the community web pages, and some ideas for who to think about for this. I know both your town administrator and your planner through previous projects. So I'll reach out to both of them as well too, and just get their initial thoughts on doing this as a town process. If that's okay with you all, if you don't mind me reaching out to them kind of on your behalf. Okay.
We would love any assistance we can get.
Okay, cool. So I'll do that as well too. Does that sound okay to everybody? Any questions?
It
I have a
does.
question.
Mhm.
What's the time frame on this for the search committee?
To formulate the
Yeah.
search committee, or the
Yeah.
formulate the committee
Yes,
itself.
task force.
So I'll talk to the town administrator and your planner to see, to get a feel from them about what the select board's kind of load, if you will, is like over the next few months for meetings. It's usually very quick and easy. Have you guys had any interaction with your select board members? Do you know if any of them are supportive of this project?
As far as I know, I think all of them were.
All
They
aware
had
and
questions about
supportive?
it throughout the process, but now that it has been approved and we've gotten the granting, the money for it.
Yeah.
I think their support was always there. It was just a question of where the money was gonna come from.
You're right.
Okay, cool. So if that's the case and there's no opposition to it, it should be very simple. We'll get it on their agenda. You guys will present your recommendation for a resolve to them. They can, make changes to it or whatever if they want to, and then they just vote to accept it. And then the town manager, unless he decides to delegate, will need to populate that committee. So usually the folks that are involved in the formation of the committee have in mind already and have already been talking to people who might want to join. So I would suggest that, you all think about, if there's any of you all that would want to participate, think about that. If there are others in the community, friends or folks that you've been involved with through, community groups or other projects that might want to participate, that would be great. The kinds of people that we're usually looking for are folks who have professional experience with, so either personal or professional experience with some of the healthcare issues disability-related type issues related to aging, folks who may be, I don't know if there's like a retirement community. Sometimes we've seen the activities coordinator or something from that join an age-friendly committee. Anybody really who has a connection to something related to, something related to the project that we're trying to undertake here. But it's really a very broad net because, like I said, everybody's aging, and also so many younger people have caregiving responsibilities for older people. And of course, there are older people that have caregiving responsibilities in some cases for grandchildren and things still. So it really is a wide net to cast, but I would start thinking about who you might be able to like pre-recruit so that those folks might be ready to put their name forward to the select board when the resolve is actually accepted. So I'll do that. And
And if I
then,
may, how large are the task force in general, or how large have they been in Duxbury and in Easton?
so I think they averaged, I'd have to take a look at the numbers. I think they averaged between 8 and 12.
Okay,
I would kind of I always like to shoot for an odd number. And I like kind of a little bit larger on the larger end, because that way, if people miss a meeting, there's always folks that can't make every single meeting. That's
Right.
helpful. So I'd probably shoot to I think 10 or 12 would be a good goal to have. But if we land with 8, that's okay too. But somewhere in that range.
thank you.
And then once we get that committee populated, that will kind of determine when we can actually start the planning process, obviously. Typically, the project will run a year from the first meeting with the official committee through to the very end. We might be able to condense that a little bit depending on which areas of focus we decide to pick for the project. The other thing that is an opportunity, an option, actually, let me ask, do you know the details of the grant funding and whether there's a certain date by which it needs to be spent?
There is no date.
I don't.
There's no date for it.
There's definitely no date. There's no deadline by which they want like a deliverable or anything like that.
Not that I've
Perfect.
seen.
Okay.
I don't know the details either.
Yeah.
Colony gets paid.
Okay.
Yeah. I think what I might ask is that the town just send me that contract that they made with the state, just so that I can confirm that and have that on record as well too. For all of us. If that's the case and there's no deadline, then we can run it over a full year. If there is a deadline, we'll have to work to make it, work within the funding. But either way, it's not going to be a problem. The one thing that we can do as well to kind of get things rolling faster, and this is up to you guys, is we could do the public survey prior to the formation of your official committee. We did do that in Duxbury. The survey itself was done essentially under the Council on Aging board. And then while the survey was running live in the community, that board worked to establish the formal committee. And then once the survey closed, the formal committee took those results, and then we did the planning process from there. The survey usually runs over a period of 2 months or so. So it does, and that is the first step in the planning process. So if we were able to do that under you all, then that would really help move the project along much more quickly as well too. And what that involves is basically I use a template that AARP has developed for these sorts of projects. And I customize that template to the needs of the community that we're working with. So in this case, obviously to Kingston. And then I would present the draft of that survey to you all or your formal committee, if you decide to wait till then, to review and essentially approve. Am I asking the right questions? Did I get anything wrong? That kind of thing. And then I would rely on you guys or on the formal committee to promote that survey in your community. So if there are any events that are happening, hand out some flyers, talk to all your friends and neighbors and colleagues on other boards and committees, help spread the word. And we hope to try and get at least 300 community responses. But I rely again on whatever committee I'm working with to actually do that promotion. So it does entail a little bit of work, quite a bit of work outside of the board or committee. And that, like I said, we'll usually run it for about sort of 6 to 8 weeks, depending on how quickly we get responses in. So that's another decision for you all to make. Do you want to do the survey under your oversight and start that in the new year, basically? Or do we want to wait for the formal committee to be set up and start the survey with them? The advantage, so that I'll just give you a little bit of pro and con. The main advantage to doing it under you guys is that we get it done quicker and it moves the project forward quicker. The main disadvantage, though, is that when you do set up your formal committee, those folks will be spending the next year working on the plan in a lot of detail. They won't have had the opportunity to feed into the development of the survey. So it's, in some cases, could be a missed opportunity because they might have really good insight about what questions to ask or what might have been missed. But like I said, it's been done both ways and both ways have been successful. It's just really a workload decision for you guys and a preference.
Sure. Any discussion points about that? I'm gonna hold you up just for 1 second. You had something you wanted to
That's
mention.
the survey, that's what I was talking about, when can we do the survey?
Oh, okay.
I think we should do the survey. You know, to get an idea, send out the survey
Excuse
to.
me.
Well, we wouldn't be sending it out.
I
We
mean,
would just
not
be
sending it
formulating it.
but-
And then it would still, if I understand you correctly, Joanne, we would, if we as a board chose to do the survey first, we'd be formulating the survey, but it would still go out under the task force, or it would then just go out to the general population regardless of the task force.
No, so let me explain the process one more time just to make
Oh,
sure we're
yeah.
all on the same page. So I would draft the survey. At one of your meetings, we would talk about the survey and make any changes to it based on your feedback. And then I would put the Survey Monkey, I would make the survey available online through a Survey Monkey platform. It's called Survey Monkey, so that people will be able to take it online. So I'd give you a link and a QR code. And I'd also give you a digital copy of a flyer. And between the link and the flyer, it would be your responsibility as a board outside of your meetings to promote that survey in your community immediately. So we could probably, like, let's say we used a January meeting to approve the survey, talk about it, and then approve it. Then we could get it live by the end of January. And then what you would need to do over the next sort of February and March would be to just help spread the word using those flyers and that online link. And I'll provide hard copies as well for you guys to print. So you can include those in town hall, the library, any kind of places where somebody might stop and take a survey on paper as well. And then that's it. And then we give it a deadline, usually, like I said, 6 to 8 weeks. And then I would take all of that and start analyzing all that information and data. And then at the first meeting of your formal committee, I would present the results and we'd start the planning process with them from there.
Okay. The alternative to that, if we chose not to approve the survey, you know, if we wanted this to be done at the committee level, at the town committee level, you would still prepare the survey. It would go to the town committee level first for approval and questions and fine tuning of that survey. Then follow the other steps, but we would have the benefit, I'm assuming we would then have the benefit of the town also additionally promoting it, and all of the different members of the task force promoting it through their departments, so on and so forth.
We have to hit the community.
Right. So, you know, I guess my initial thought is personally, I would still like to lean on the task force, you know, the town task force for that assistance, because I feel like we would, to Joanne's point, you know, if the task force has to pick up and run with something that may have some unforeseen holes in it, you know, if we have somebody from the planning board on the committee and it doesn't have a planning board's eye in the survey and the results, that could be, there could be some holes in it. So while it may take us a little bit longer, an extra month or two, January, February, and March are not our strong months as far as, with weather and other things being challenging for us anyway. I think that if those were behind the scenes, the months that things were being planned and we were asking the town for task force assistance, and to start that, if we didn't hit the ground running until April, I guess I'm not not sure if that would be a huge deficit. Holly, what are your thoughts on that? Holly, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think the benefit to doing it under the advisory board is time. You get it, as Joanne saying, it can be out in the community by the end of January. But I agree that there's, some missed opportunities with input from a larger task force that it's representing the entire town, that they may have priorities that we might not see, and ideas.
Well, and I would think too, our system, and correct me if I'm wrong, but, you send out mailers and flyers and, we have a target audience of our own, but it doesn't include some of these other target people or age groups, or it doesn't include some of these other targets that we're trying to reach. So I feel like any assistance we could get from the town would be helpful.
I went to the Duxbury meetings and I know that they sent out over 2,500 surveys and they got back 1,400.
Oh, wow, that's
yeah.
amazing. I would
But
think
it
that's-
did get put out all over the place, from what I understand.
Right.
That it went to the
And-
library, it went to, for people to do, like she
Right.
said, the paper
Right.
surveys. They did get a 1,400 person response.
Anybody else have any comments?
Just have a question, Joanne. To avoid confusion for all, would you be able to send us all an email simplifying these steps from A through Z
That we could
of
refer
what
back to?
we have to do? I mean, in our head, we got all this right now, but can you, as simple as possible, give us the steps to take?
Absolutely. That's going to be in your contract as
Further
well. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I'll pull that scope out and I'll share that with Holly and she can share it with you all for sure. And I just want to add to, I think to the chair's point, the later winter months are tough because for community outreach, because there aren't a lot of public events happening. It may be important to consider, what's happening in town for outreach when you make your decision. Usually April, May, those are months where, farmers markets maybe are starting to get going or people are having kind of more activities in town. Maybe there's, maybe you guys are active in the winter as well too, in sort of February and March. I'm not familiar enough yet with your community. But that's definitely something to consider as well too. If outreach is better done in the spring because you have more going on in town, then that's definitely a good reason as well to wait till then.
Okay,
And
great.
Also, one other thing is, our board meetings will be held at a different location due to tax season from like February through April. So we're all gonna
Yeah,
be
yes.
discombobulated and,
Yeah.
So I definitely appreciate, we've been pushing for such a long, it feels like this has been going on for 2 years already. In theory, right? Trying to get to this point and, we're right there. But I feel like my personal opinion is, taking our time and help in getting some support from the town through a town task force, could be the better way to go, even though it may take us a couple extra months to get there. Right. Yeah. And get a lot of different perspectives.
Exactly. We have town meetings in March and April, and that would be even a nice time to get
The survey out.
surveys.
Sure.
out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. If we could get the survey out at your town meeting, that's one of the best places. That would be great.
It's in May. Okay.
Is it in May?
Okay.
No special one?
They won't do a special one for this, I'm sure. Okay, so it sounds, do we why don't we take a quick vote on, having, oh boy, what are we doing? We're doing the, having the survey. Joanne, we'll have you go forward with formulating the survey, but we will, have it reviewed by the actual task force that is ultimately formed in the hopefully near future, and not by our board individually. Anyone want to second that one? Thank God this is being recorded, I'm just saying. I gotta go back to the recording for this. So Joan will second that. All in favor?
I,
Great, thank you, guys.
And I just have one final question also, and I don't know if this is for Holly to figure out and get back to me on, but in order to get the contract over to you guys for review, I just need to determine what payment schedule would work for you. So we could do, you know, all up front if that's easiest for the town and just a single payment, or we can break it up into 2 payments. So one, for example, so half up front and half when we have a draft presented to you all. I don't know if anybody has a preference. Holly, if you have a preference.
You and I can discuss that. I don't think.
Okay.
it's a-
I was gonna say,
Not a board
I don't
thing.
think any
Okay.
of us have the ability to answer that question.
Okay, cool. So I'll follow up with you about that, Holly.
And ultimately, did you mention that it's the town administrator that will ultimately sign the contract? Is that,
Yeah. I think that's how it works in your town, right, Holly? The town admin signs all contracts.
Yes.
okay, great. So about between Holly and Keith and yourself, that question can get answered. But we would love to obviously see the contract before it gets signed, but yeah, okay.
Yeah. And I'll send you guys the scope of work in it earlier anyway, or Holly, you can share that with them, because that'll show you like the steps as well and what it will look like with the timeline.
Great.
Yeah, you can just forward that to me, Joanne. and I'll send it.
Great. Sounds good.
Oh, good. That's awesome. I'm very excited actually that this is moving forward. I'm also very excited that we're individually as a board, not going to be exclusively burdened by this, you know, because as great as this entire thing is going to be ultimately, my biggest concern was always going to be the burden that we were taking on. So I'm thrilled that we're sharing that burden. Well, we will be sharing that burden with other members of the town and moving forward. Thank you so much, Joanne. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Julian.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thank you all. Happy holidays.
You too.
Happy
Thank you.
holidays.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Toodaloo.
To have the survey voted on and finalized by the task force. not just by us.
I will be back.
All right, we can go back to the recording for that too. Okay. All right, moving on. I would like to give Holly her opportunity to do the director's report. Please.
Thank you. I'll be quick. I gave everyone a copy. Thanks.
I think you have them all.
she has to go.
Sure,
I have to go.
no problem.
So we just heard from Joanne. She and I had a conversation a couple of weeks ago, very similar to what she talked about today. So I thought it would be beneficial for her to just rejoin us and recap. In the meantime, I have identified a few people, people who have actually expressed interest to me. So I do have a short list of people from the community, not just from these 4 walls. Yeah, so I think we're in good shape. for
Great.
that. As Chris mentioned, the Friends gave a donation to fund the postage for our newsletter mailing from January through June. So that's very gracious, and that covers the cost of mailing the newsletters every month, and that cost continues to go up through Christmas.
It's almost $1 a piece at this point. Well,
So we get bulk rate,
Right.
so it's 38 cents, but they've been raising it every 6 months. So.
yes.
The staff, we're currently, so I've already done it, but the rest of the staff is doing Alice training, active shooter training. All departments have had to do it within the town, so that along with CPR training, which is something we have to do every couple of years. We're beginning programming for 2025. We're in the middle of programming for 2025, I guess, because that's right around the corner. So looking at, programs that worked, that didn't work, exercise classes, if anyone has feedback of things that they've done here and liked or didn't like, we're certainly open to new suggestions. We get a lot of cross, instructors that go to many other COAs in the area. So we always love to hear about what you've experienced at another council on aging and that you'd like to see come here. We've recently gotten back online with the local scene. They do, it's a segment called Looking Ahead, and it's with COA directors and program managers from Kingston, Plymouth, Duxbury, and Pembroke, maybe. So we go on and talk about what's ahead, what programs and events are coming up for the next month, or just generally what's happening at the COA. It loops on the local scene. It's only, like 6 or 7 minutes per council on aging, but it gives a good overview of what's happening, what's new, and what people have to look forward to in the different area councils on aging.
Is there a specific day that is aired?
I don't know. So we record on the 3rd Wednesday of every month. We all record on the same day. So I'm assuming it's available the next week. So probably the final week of the month for the following month. So I'm recording. I'm sorry?
We can watch that.
You can watch
Yeah,
this.
through the local scene.
Is it the town? who puts it?
So it's through the local scene. What used to be PAC TV. Yeah, but I can give you the link to it.
Yes, if you go back to their website, if you've ever gone to look for recorded meeting segments, it would be under there, and there would just be it would be under Kingston, but it'll be under there in one of their headings.
Yeah, it's called Looking Ahead.
I don't know, where was she?
You had an interview here.
We've had a couple of interviews.
I have
2
a
years ago.
question for you,
You're
Mom.
still out there.
The
You're in
Alice
the crowd.
training,
Oh, my
Can
God.
that be- given to the people, to seniors again?
Oh, you went through before?
Yes.
From the board or just as?
So we did, the Alice training does sound familiar. We didn't do active shooter training. We did Alice training though.
Yeah,
Into a BC.
because I was here. Yeah,
As the board, you mean?
no,
Oh,
it
the
was
public.
the regular, the
Well, that's
public
open to
was
the
here.
public, you're right.
Yeah.
The detectives.
I-
The 2 detectives were here and they went through everything, which I think people should know what to do.
Absolutely. I can ask them if they'd be willing to
Yeah.
do that again.
I think it would be a great idea.
Shooter, you get under the team.
Wasn't that like two?
Huh?
I don't think that had an active shooter element though, did it?
Yes.
It
I
did?
don't
It's
think
the-
it
I don't
did the
remember.
active
All the same
shooter.
training?
Yeah,
Oh, okay. I guess I'm blanking on that piece, but
oh, I was
I
right
remember,
up
I remember
front.
sitting through the training. I just don't remember the active shooter part, but either way, it could be a
I
benefit for
think
sure.
it's a good thing to know what to do. If someone comes through that
Yeah.
damn door.
Right. Yeah, I can ask them.
Whoops, I'm on TV.
Just quick updates from the other parts of the COA transportation program is thriving. In October, we did 381 rides. And in November, we did 291 rides. And, just because I was thinking back to the summer about the construction projects up on 3A and how our drivers really were able to navigate those challenges and have the passenger seat very minimal impact in terms of timing and getting to where they needed to be. So our drivers are great and they continue to work hard. Jenny, our outreach coordinator, is still, getting acclimated here in Kingston, but she's been super busy the last couple months with all of her outreach services. She was helping with fuel assist, this time of the year is fuel assistance with South Shore Community Action Council. She held a training seminar to assist clients with the applications, recertifications, and new applications. So recently she was screening and scheduling Shine appointments during open enrollment. Our Shine counselor added, I think, a day a week. So she was here 2 days for like 6 weeks during the open enrollment period. Jenny did all the screenings for those. and we saw 66 clients during the open enrollment. And in addition, she recently revamped our Wednesday Bag and Go program, and she continues to work on issues regarding food insecurity, housing troubles, and so much more. It's an active office she has. I did a little printout here for you, which is just the number of meals served at Cafe Evergreen. I guess kind of for my own purposes, I wanted to see like a year at a glance. So this does go a little bit over a year, but you can see just the numbers, and then in the notes, you can see when we had certain special meals. Lucy, for instance, can definitely attest to the Thursdays being wild. Sometimes Wednesdays, she's there on Wednesdays. So we continue to operate 4 days a week, doing breakfast and lunch. We, over the last year, worked really hard to create a variety of meals, and we're now able to take a full 4-season look because we do change the menu seasonally. So you can see what we did in the fall and the spring, so on. And I sat down with Phil the other day, and he really has a great understanding for what items sell and what doesn't, again, because now we have that full year. And he's always looking for feedback and suggestions. He's always willing to tailor items to people's dietary needs and desires. We recently held our Thanksgiving luncheon here for over 100 people, and this Thursday we're doing our holiday luncheon. So those numbers you do see included in the total meals for the month. So we're doing really well, and we're going to continue. We'll have a new menu coming out for winter time. More soups, like soup
Nope.
sandwich.
I find it really interesting, just at a quick glance without really studying this too much, but it seems as if our biggest hitting months tend to be the cooler weather months, which is different than I would have expected. I would have expected we'd have more attendance in like the spring and summer, but those numbers are lower overall. I mean, they're not low numbers, but they're just lower overall than say, October and November. And that just surprises me. That's all.
What's the head count for Christmas?
100. Great. Awesome. Thank you for that. Alrighty. Any questions for Holly?
How you doing, Hal?
I'm good.
Doing Holly? Yeah.
Doing
Okay.
great.
All right, moving on. I hesitate to call this a chairman's report. It's more of some, random notes in my head, but I know we don't often get one, and it's, 2 little paragraphs here, but I figured there's a couple things I'd mention to you. I know you're all very interested on the update for the search for our new permanent director. I am a member of that committee. The committee has yet to actually meet, but the first meeting is this week. And as of right now, as I put on here, there's 13 candidates that have applied. There's a committee of 6 people, which I've listed who the 6 people are for you, just so you're aware. And again, meetings begin this month. Interviews were we were hoping to have interviews start with the candidates this month, but just due to holiday schedules and everybody's personal schedules, that's going to get pushed out to January. So the plan is to meet to whittle down the candidates to a more manageable number. I believe that number's 5 or 6 candidates, and then in turn take those remaining candidates through the interview process in January. So that's where we are.
So this is the committee.
This is the
Is
committee.
HR person on there too?
She is, oh, I thought she was.
Melissa? No, Tina.
Tina. So
No,
Tina's coordinating it, but I guess she's not actually officially on the committee. Okay. So more to come on that.
So if we have questions, or we would like you to ask a couple of things.
Well, that's why I had sent you that email.
Mhm.
So make sure you get something back to me if you want.
Mhm.
Many of you did send me things to consider and things that, questions to ask, but, send that to me sooner than later. And then resurrecting scams. in honor of, Mr. Favallara. Really, I just wanted to share my own personal experience with, it turned out to not be a scam. However, it could have very easily have been. So, when we've all got, text alerts on our phone. Of course, our bank has our phone number, and the first step that's supposed to happen if some sort of fraudulent activity, your bank determines that fraudulent activity is happening on your card or one of your cards, is they reach out to you, of course, right? Is this you? Did you do this? Are you trying to buy this $4,000 TV from Best Buy, whatever? Yes or no. But of course, now the problem is, how do we know any of those texts are actually accurate? Because we get all kinds of other things and there's a link embedded. So this is my personal experience. I got the text message, this is Citizens Bank. I'm like, but is it? How am I supposed to know if it is or not? Click this link, we've got fraudulent activity on your account. Click this link to let us know if this is you or not. And I'm like, I'm not clicking no link. That's not happening. I'm sorry, but I'm not doing that. But of course, I'm still very, very nervous now going, well, is this real or is it not real? If I ignore it, is it going to go through? So what I did instead is called my bank's number that I am aware, that I know is their number, just called them directly. Went through, their series of, yes, press one, press no, got to the fraud department, then verified all my personal information. I didn't mind giving them my social security because I called them. I certainly wasn't going to give it to somebody that was calling me saying, did you do this? Well, let's check your account information. I wasn't going to do it that way. So it turned out it was fraudulent activity and they tried to get about $1,400, but it got stopped. And
That's a good thing.
and it was Best Buy, and somebody was using my card online to order through Best Buy. What was actually even scarier is they did in fact have my phone number too. So as a secondary, so it turns out that all of the texts that I were getting were active, I didn't end up clicking the links, but it was Citizens actually trying to get in touch with me. I didn't answer any of those, but while I was sitting in the bank, so Citizens shut my card down for me. They put in a claim against the fraudulent activity that had already attempted to go through, or actually had already pulled from my account. I went, instead of waiting for a week to 10 days for my new card to arrive, who can go a week in this day and age without their credit card, by the way? Nobody. So I went to the bank
Yep.
and got one issued immediately. While I was sitting in the bank, waiting to meet with the woman, Best Buy called me. I answered the phone and it was a gentleman saying he was from Best Buy. And I was like, yeah, right. Are you really? I was mad. I was like, are you really from Best Buy? I was yelling at him. And he's like, I am. I'm in the shipping department and I wanted to confirm your order. I actually think the poor man that I was yelling at did actually work at Best Buy. I'm starting to think he did because what he said to me afterwards, and I kind of processed it differently, but I'm like, I went right in like, you're trying to steal my money. I didn't. No. It wasn't me at all. Like I definitely didn't place any orders. But online it had been through Best Buy. That that was the vendor the order was going through. So fast forward, I'm now sitting at the bank waiting for my new card to be issued. I get a phone call from somebody who identified himself as Best Buy saying, so he had my phone number. Saying, I'm just in the shipping department and I can't ship this. I see that there's a problem with the order.
Yeah.
And I can't, and which at this point has now gone through the system and been marked as fraudulent. So I'm sure, so he's like, so wait a minute, are you telling me you didn't order this? And I'm like, I didn't order it. The whole thing is fraudulent. I didn't order it. I'm hanging up on you now. Lucky. Like I really was really mad at this guy. He just was, right in that moment. And he was like, okay, I'm not going to ship it then. So then I hung up and I went,
Well, I wonder what they were gonna.
so he's not going to ship it, which means that man wasn't trying to steal my money. So anyway, that was a funny little finish to the whole. He was like, I'm just trying. He's like, somebody ordered a really nice computer. I don't know. I thought I was checking to see if it was you. So the only piece that I can't explain and still don't necessarily know is how they linked my phone number to my credit. People steal your credit card numbers all the time. and I get that, you know, and there had been 2 times during the week, that week leading up to that, you know, my card had gone into a gas station, and maybe was skimmed at the gas station. Or we'd gone to a restaurant, and instead of them bringing, now, I finally understand now the benefit to these restaurants bringing these little tablets to your table. Your card never leaves your presence at that point in time. It's always in your view.
Yeah.
And, you know, I used to think, what's the big deal? But,
They used to take it.
but instead I had gone to a different restaurant who took it. And then I'm like, well, I don't know what happened. I don't know if somebody took a picture of it. I don't know what happened with it. So, anyway, I have lots of still thoughts about, oh, I get this now and I get that now. And all of that. But that was my experience on fraudulent activity that ended up coming full circle.
Did you ask the kids if they ordered you a new computer for Christmas?
Nobody ordered me a computer. No, nobody's doing that.
We did have the police chief here, and he was telling us how you can avoid that by doing something to your card. And I can't remember what it was, because, no, it was something that if something big like that got ordered, it wouldn't.
I don't know. I don't remember what that was either, but I also did find out recently the benefit. So you know how our cards all have the chips now?
Mhm.
And I never quite understood how the chips were more security, had more security enhancement, because I thought it, you know, you're hitting the chip. And sometimes you're still entering your debit code, and sometimes you're not. And I was thinking, well, somebody could still steal my card and chip it. And that's more on the store. So some stores have lower thresholds.
Yeah.
For the amount of money you're spending, whether you need to enter your debit
PIN
card
number.
or not, your PIN number
Yeah.
or not. So that could still happen. Somebody could
Mhm.
still steal your card, physically use the chip, the tap function of the chip, and possibly still skate through without having to know your PIN number, fine. But the other benefit of that over sliding it is the skimmer. So if you're at a machine that has had a skimmer attached to it, if you tap, you bypass the skimmer. So that's the benefit of the chip. And one
Yeah.
benefit of the chip versus actually inserting.
You know what I don't understand is why you pay a bill by check. Everything on that check
Could be ripped off.
ripped off
Yeah.
because your name, your address, your phone number,
Yeah.
your bank account number,
All
your
that.
routing number. It's right
Well, that's
there.
Yeah, it is.
You
Right.
mentioned
Yeah.
something about this crazy world. We had a plumber at the house yesterday. He was telling us within the past year, he wrote an 800 check, put it in the mailbox. And it ends up, someone retrieved that check from the mailbox. I think they took a crowbar, got into the mailbox, or used some kind of wire with that sticky stuff they use for mouse traps. They changed it to 8,000.
Mhm.
They wiped his account out. He never got
That
his
would
money
never
back.
happen to me.
And this is like
Never
the
happened.
world.
Yeah, no, it's crazy.
You know,
It's
I was
craziness.
thinking about that with the
Actually,
checks. You
The
don't think
bank
about
should have paid him
your-
back.
But that's why they used to
Every
steal,
time
that's why the mail, they
What bank
tell you
is
not to
it?
keep your mail
Oh.
overnight.
Yeah.
They did
Well,
wrong.
we
by
get a
him.
post
All
office.
right. Well, so that's what I wanted to share there with that experience. I'm gonna just mention this as, you know, so under old business, I have listed bylaws and our policies and procedures refresh. Now, before you all cringe, what I mean by that is let's see, if you remember, we did our policies and procedures first. We finalized those. Then we did our bylaws second. It took a long time to finalize those, but now there are final pieces of our bylaws, which now go back and affect our policies and procedures. So unfortunately, we must revisit.
Can we get a copy of the latest one?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm just bringing this up, mentioning this now, but yes. So I don't know if it's easier, if you guys would like to proceed and just review it as our board and cross-reference, like I don't even, it's been such a long process, and we did this, and then we did this, and then we did this, and then we did this. I don't actually even remember what pieces don't match anymore. And I would really love some help maybe through a working group or something, or just all of you wanting to review it and talk about it at the next meeting. Some help identifying where they don't match and making the revisions that we need to make. So would you guys like to do that as a whole group, or does a couple people want to carve off and do that in a working group and then present it back to us?
The last,
Okay.
the last, thing I have on it is back in 23.
Is that the policies? I can't see that far. Is that the
Yeah.
policies? That's fine. So that's probably right,
That
because we did
was
the policies
last
first.
time We did it,
We did the policies first.
yeah.
Yeah, and then we did the bylaws second. We should have done them the other way around. So you're right, that they probably need to be revisited, period.
Yeah.
Okay.
But they absolutely need to be revisited because of the bylaws changes that we have.
Okay.
So if
So-
we get new copies, we can put them side by side and do it as a
Yeah.
group.
Yeah.
Step by step.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll send to
I
the
think
group.
it would be better.
Ask you guys to review that between now and our next meeting. And then maybe we can try to get that freshened up. Okay. And we're not gonna do that right now.
I have like 5 different copies.
Well, and that's true too. I've got to wade through which ones are the final versions of everything, but I'm pretty sure we have them. Chris, thank you for coming. Appreciate it. Anyone have any questions or concerns before we adjourn?
Yes.
The building and uses.
What
we can
about the
bump up.
building?
Yeah, we're gonna bump that. I threw it on
Bump it.
for old business,
Is-
just in case,
Is
in
there
case.
anybody remembered?
Oh, yes, thank you for asking. Do we have anybody that we should be remembering? No,
That's a good thing.
that's good. It's a very good
That's a
thing, but
good
there's
thing.
none.
All of us.
Okay,
I Jerry's mother, fellow that I was helping, his mom passed away. I have a family friend who has, lost his mom. He took care of she was 96 years old. The poor man is totally lost in space. His wife passed away about 4 years ago, so his mom has been doing all his reading and what have you. He unfortunately is illiterate and can't read or write. So he's gotten himself into a big mess by not being able to redo his applications and what have you, but council has been helping him.
What's his last name?
I'll give it to you later.
okay, so we can just remember his mom.
Just remember his
We'll
mom.
remember his
Dora.
mom.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, Dora, her name is Dora.
thank you.
And it was a sad situation.
Okay,
She was due to come home and she passed the morning she was gonna come home.
He still comes here.
Yeah, he comes in.
into January. Our next meeting will be January 14th, I believe.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
I hope everyone has a wonderful Christmas. Thank you. A wonderful Hanukkah if you celebrate.
I'm not going to
And,
resort to staying
um,
home.
So anyone want to make a motion to adjourn?
I make a
I make
motion
motion.
that we adjourn our meeting and reconvene in January.
Very good, Mary.
I second that.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Take care. Happy holidays.